Today we're making a Negroni Riff as part of a collab with some other cocktail YouTubers, Kill Devil, Gnome's Tavern, and Mike's Hard Reviews. And don't forget the rusty bartender. I guess my memory was a little rusty when I recorded this, and my amnesia continued after that. The calm scribe and Better Avec Bourbon also participated. Mike came up with the idea, and here are the official rules for this challenge. It has to be inspired by a historical figure. It must include at least 1 ounce of Amaro, and it should resemble a Negroni in both structure and presentation. But we're allowed to have fun with it. I thought it'd be hilarious to make a drink for a woman who really hated drinks. Meet Carrie Nation. She led a one-woman crusade against alcohol in the early 1900s by storming into bars with a hatchet and smashing everything in sight. She blamed alcohol for society's problems, which is understandable, since her first husband was an alcoholic. Now, Carrie wasn't all bad. She raised money for prison reform. She spoke out about how corsets were literally crushing women's internal organs. She even handed out Bibles to bar patrons, right before she destroyed their place of business. So in her honor, I made a Negroni Riff that's almost a temperance drink. I call it Screw You, Carrie. Instead of a typical alcoholic Amaro, I'm going to use Artet, a cannabis-infused aperitif. So, like I said, this is almost a temperance drink. I am going to use a little bit of sweet vermouth. I didn't feel like tracking down the non-alcoholic vermouth, and this only has 16.5% alcohol. And I'm going to use a non-alcoholic sparkling rosé as the topper. So it's going to be kind of a Negroni Sbagliato Riff. And I'm going to build it right in the glass. So I've featured a lot of cannabis-infused spirits on my channel. And this one is kind of like the cannabis answer to Campari. It's only 2.5 milligrams of THC in a 1.5 ounce serving. And I'm going to use 2 ounces. And that should be just like a really nice manageable little amount. And one thing I noticed about this, it does have kind of a light orange color, but it doesn't have that bright red that Campari does. But that's okay. I assume these are all natural colors. And I tasted this the other day, and it does have kind of that bitter vibe that Campari does. And I'm going to use 1 ounce of my favorite sweet vermouth, Carpano Antica. And I'm very proud of these little bottles I happened to track down, because I've complained a lot on my channel about how I can't get through a big bottle of vermouth before it goes bad, but this is the answer. So after that, I'm going to add some ice, because it's just kind of a Negroni Sbagliato type drink, and I think that ice goes well in it. And I've been waiting to use these little balls in something. So I'll fill it with a good amount of those. Maybe give it a quick little stir in the glass. And then I'm going to top it off with this Woffler Estate Spring in a Bottle Sparkling Non-Alcoholic Rosé. Been looking kind of forward to trying this. So whenever I open a bottle of any kind of sparkling wine for a video, I feel kind of an obligation to drink it that day so it doesn't go flat. But this, you can drink the whole thing and be fine the next day, so I hope it's good. Alright, so I've got a couple of fun tricks up my sleeve for the garnish. First of all, I'm just going to go with the obvious one, a little bit of this orange peel, kind of going with the Negroni theme. I have this new multi-tool from Rabbit, and it includes a channel knife, which is just a knife you can run around a piece of citrus to make a really thin piece, and it makes kind of a cool twist that you can put on something as a spiral. So I'll just kind of twist this around my bar spoon to give it a nice little curl. And I also spent some time laser engraving a special garnish that's a little wooden hatchet that says Death to Rum, because I think one of Carrie's hatchets actually said that on it. Got a little notch in it just to rest it on the side of the glass. Let's see how it tastes. That does put me in the mind of a Negroni Sbagliato right away. The Artet's helping. I think the vermouth does like bring quite a bit to the table as far as like the color and taste of it. And the spring in a bottle is a good topper for it. So let me know what you think of this cannabis-infused Negroni Riff. And as always, thanks for watching. Check out some of the other great Negroni Riffs. I'll include a link to them below. And as always, thank you for watching and cheers!